All right, today we're diving into the dark side of storytelling, the anti-hero's journey. We're going to follow one character's pretty brutal initiation to really understand how a villain is made, step by painful step.
You know the classic hero's path, right? The call to adventure, the trials, the big triumphant return. But what happens when that journey isn't a climb to glory, but a slow, deliberate descent into total darkness?
To figure that out, we're going to follow a man named Cillian, who's caught right in the middle of the chaos of the Norman invasion of Ireland. Now for him, the arrival of these invaders isn't a threat. Oh no, it's an opportunity. His story gives us the perfect map for what some people call the inverted path. Basically, a step-by-step guide to how an anti-hero is forged.
So here's our roadmap. We'll break down the 4 key stages of his initiation: his tests, his confrontation with his own humanity, his ultimate ordeal, and then finally the reward he gets for all that corruption.
Okay, first up, the tests. For a hero, this whole stage is about finding friends and building trust. For an anti-hero, it's about something much, much colder: acquiring assets.
Just think about the huge difference here. The hero's journey is all about community, finding loyal friends, learning from a wise mentor. The anti-hero's path, it's just business. It's completely transactional. People aren't partners, they're tools, and a mentor isn't a guide, they're just another obstacle in the way.
And we see this play out immediately at the Siege of Waterford. Cillian doesn't side with his own countrymen. Nope, he finds a band of Welsh mercenaries who see the world the same way he does. It's all about the deal. His test isn't to defend his home, it's to prove he's useful to the invaders. This is the moment it all just crystallizes for him. He spots his old mentor, Malachy, on the walls. And there's no hesitation, no moment of conflict. Malachy is simply an obstacle. And the big takeaway here is that Cillian doesn't surpass his teacher in skill or wisdom. He surpasses him in pure, unadulterated ruthlessness. This level of ruthlessness builds directly into the next stage, the innermost cave. Now for a hero, this is a place of deep fear. For the anti-hero, it's where they confront their own humanity and make a conscious choice to destroy it. Just notice the stark contrast. The hero finds themselves in the cave, the anti-hero loses themselves there. It's not about overcoming fear for some noble cause. It's about extinguishing empathy for personal gain. This right here is the moral point of no return. Cillian's cave is a literal one, the dark, damp crypts underneath Dublin. And he finds exactly what he was looking for, the city's hidden wealth. But he also finds something else: innocent people, terrified and just trying to hide for their lives.
This choice is so critical it actually has a name: the harrowing of the soul. It's that precise moment where the anti-hero decides to put their own personal gain, their own honest greed, above the lives and well-being of anyone else.
And Cillian's choice is absolutely brutal. He doesn't save them, he doesn't even just ignore them. He actively uses their lives as a diversion, a tool to get his prize. In that single moment, his last bit of empathy is just gone.
And that leads us straight to the climax of his initiation, the ordeal. But where a hero is reborn through a great act of sacrifice, the anti-hero is reborn through an act of profound corruption. So the hero faces death and comes back stronger, more noble. The anti-hero, on the other hand, wins by faking weakness and exploiting trust. A hero slays a monster to save other people. An anti-hero slays what's left of their old self, their own identity, to serve only themselves. So during the Siege of Dublin, Cillian gets himself cornered. He's outnumbered, completely outmatched. A hero would fight to the last breath. Cillian, though, he relies on his true weapon, deceit. He sets up this classic con, a stingy jack manipulation. It's a cold, calculated 3-step process. First, he dangles the bait, a fake deal, a map to Norman weak points, all in exchange for his life. Second, he exploits the commander's trust, getting him to turn his back. And third, the betrayal, an arrow in the back, sealing the fate of the commander and leading his men straight into a kill zone. It's predatory perfection. So this is his big resurrection, but it's really a corruption. He has fully embraced his new nature as a purely predatory force. By killing a fellow Irishman so treacherously, he has metaphorically killed his own identity. He's been reborn as nothing more than a weapon for his new masters. And what does he get for all of this? He gets the reward. But for the anti-hero, the prize always comes with a very heavy price. They get what they want, but it's never, ever what they need. See, the hero's reward, the ultimate boon, is something that helps everyone. It heals the community. The anti-hero's reward is purely for themselves, it's tainted, it's material. They might become powerful, a so-called master of two worlds, but they're utterly alone, hated by one side, and completely distrusted by the other.
Cillian's reward is tangible, though. It's a livery and maintenance, which is a legal title to land and the right to have his own private army. This is the noble power he's been chasing this entire time. He got exactly what he wanted.
But the reality of it is devastating. He's standing on his new land, holding his silver, and looking out at a domain that was built on betrayal and death. He has his power, but as the source material puts it so powerfully, he is king of a graveyard he helped fill.
There's this blacksmithing metaphor that just perfectly sums up the entire process. A hero is forged in fire to remove impurities, but the anti-hero, the forged blade, plunges themselves into oil, not to be purified, but to become harder, sharper, and a lot more brittle, cold, lethal, and just unable to connect with anything ever again.
And this all leaves us with a pretty unsettling question. I mean, anti-heroes are often the most popular characters in our stories. So when we find ourselves rooting for their ruthless efficiency, what does that reflect about us? What part of us is drawn to the idea of power that's completely free from the constraints of a conscience? Something to think about.